Well, we're back here on Tommy Maroon Sports Show. All right, it's that time of week. Of course, there's a little tree behind me. How about that? Just noticed that looking at the TV. But anyways, a lot of stuff. The usual sports and, of course, some golf. U.S. Open happened. Of course, we won't get to the U.S. Open just now. Of course, we have some racing to look at as the round of 16 came to an end in the beautiful world of NASCAR. Here are the final two laps of the Bass Pro Shops night race. Kevin Harvick is the winner, as usual, now 9 wins and 58 wins in his entire career. There was a final lap. Chase Elliott took home stage 1. Kyle Busch, the guy in second, won stage 2. Look at this final lap, and Harvick just holds off Kyle Busch. He looked like he was drifting a little. Poor Kyle Busch. Just had absolutely poor luck this entire season. 0 wins, but at least he'll be advancing to the round of 12. William Byron on lap 233 out of this 500-lap race at Bristol. Got into a wreck that ended his Cup hopes. Very frustrating for him. To say the least, there he is in 38th place. Ryan Newman got into an accident on lap 250, which means halfway through the race, of course. This is Bristol. Bristol is half a mile. It's not like Martinsville because there is banking and you do go faster. Rookie Tyler Reddick, who's not in the postseason, finished in 4th place and did really well. Chris Buescher in 8th place also did well. 30,000 fans there in Bristol, Tennessee for the race. Of course, that's how it was for the All-Star race. Short track, still fun to watch, and you know that Kevin Harvick is very happy. He is definitely proving to be one of the greatest NASCAR drivers we have ever seen. So now the round of 12 happened, or will be coming up this Wednesday. Matthew DiBenedetto, Ryan Blaney, Cole Custer, and of course William Byron are all out. And the next 3 races will determine who advances to the round of 8. Those races will be at the Las Vegas Speedway, Talladega, and the Charlotte Roval in that order. 1 Speedway, which is Vegas, 1 Super Speedway, which is Talladega, and 1 road course, which is actually a normal speedway, but they turned into a road course. They turned Charlotte into a road course for this. Harvick is leading all drivers with Shackler, 3,067 points. And currently Austin Dillon is in 8th place, and Eric Almirola is in 9th. Austin Dillon has 1 win this season and did really well in the postseason, at least in round 16. Who knows? It's going to be a great finish. And by the way, that race on Saturday, which was on NBCSN, it had higher ratings than Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, which was on NBC Channel 3 right here in Cleveland. But still, the fact that NASCAR was able to outdraw the NHL was pretty crazy. By the way, I believe series is tied 1-1, Tampa and Dallas. Of course, both teams looking really good out there. Haven't paid too much attention to the NHL. Of course, you guys know that. Of course, I'm a Cleveland guy, so I don't really watch hockey, but I am somewhat looking at it a little bit. But anyways, so yeah, that's what happened. NASCAR in 2020, to say the least, this might be one of its best years. Of course, over the last few years, one of the biggest concerns was NASCAR's dying ratings. This year, it's just been skyrocketing. It restarted back in May at the right time when no one else was starting. And what was the result? Good ratings and a huge fan base now. And speaking of huge fan bases, golf has a good following too. There's the U.S. Open. Of course, typically it's in June, but this year, because of COVID, had to go back to September. It's one of the 4 major championship rounds in the PGA Tour. This year, it's right there at the Winged Foot Golf Club in Mamaroneck, New York. Dear God, I hope I pronounced that right. On the par there is 70, where Willie Anderson, Bobby Jones, Ben Hogan, and Jack Nicklaus have won 4 times each. The prize fund this year was $12.5 million altogether. So looking at the final standings, Bryson DeChambeau was the winner, finishing 6 under par. Matthew Wolff was second, finished right with an E for even. Luthusian, I don't know if I pronounced that right, had 2 over par. Harris English, 3 over par. Xander Schauffele had a 4 over par. Dustin Johnson with a 5 over par with Will Zalatoris. Some highlights during the final round include this as I do my best golf announcer impersonation. DeChambeau had a 3 under par. Zach Johnson had a good chip shot too. And Wolf had a good par putt on hole 15. Schauffele had 74 strokes during that final round, which is a 4 over. And Lewis finished his day with a very long birdie. And Wolf had a very good chip shot towards the end of the round. But anyways, Bryson DeChambeau has just been was just doing unbelievable throughout his entire golf match. And of course, not too many fans were there, I believe, due to the virus. But still, DeChambeau did himself really well nonetheless. And it's really great to see how well that was. Winning the 2020 U.S. Open, you put yourself in a long list of such great people. There's DeChambeau after winning. Couldn't be any happier. Of course, we had to wait, let's think, July, August, September. Had to wait about 3 months for this to happen. But he's a happy man now as he won the U.S. Open. Of course, golf's ratings have been doing really well, which shouldn't come as a shocker because golf is a great sport to play. It is a great sport to watch. Now time to look at the Cleveland Indians now. Leading us in average home runs and RBIs. Jose Ramirez heading into yesterday, 290. He now has 70 bombs, and he now has 44 RBIs. This guy's unbelievable. Shane Bieber, 8 wins, 112 Ks, 174 ERA. And, of course, here's recaps against Detroit. You know what they say? Cleveland, we're not Detroit. And good thing we're not Detroit because we clobbered them 3-1. Jose Ramirez is the man. 2 home runs, 4 RBIs on his birthday, which was the first game. And then that game, which was the 4th game, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. Zach had 7.2 shutout innings in Game 2. The Tigers did score 4 runs in the 8th inning in Game 3, which led to them winning. But that was it for them. Anyways, Indians, White Sox, of course, back on Monday. The Indians won thanks to a 3-run bomb by Jose Ramirez. And then last night, Jose Ramirez, he's the MVP of the entire MLB this season. Walk-off 3-run bomb in the 10th inning to stun Chicago 5-3. Good guys in the playoffs. What else did you expect? Jose Ramirez is my MVP. He better be your MVP too. He's going to win the American League. Shane Bieber wins Cy Young in the American League. Everything is coming up Cleveland this year. Checking the standings, we have clinched a playoff spot, but we haven't clinched the, division yet. Of course, we hold a huge lead out there. 4 teams are out: Kansas City, Boston, Texas, and the Baltimore Orioles. But meanwhile, just looking at that, we are 7th. We would be playing Chicago, and we have had Chicago's number the entire season long. What a great season it has been for the Indians. Had that 8-game losing streak, but otherwise we have been really fine. 31-24, 60-game season. Remember that now. 8 teams make the postseason, and of course there will be postseason bubbles. World Series is going to be in Arlington, Texas. But anyways, yes, Arlington and Houston where the signed Steelers play. San Diego and Los Angeles. And then Arlington, San Diego, and then Globe Life Field. Unfortunately, nobody's going to see it, which shouldn't come as a shocker. But the Indians win it. The Indians are unbelievable, to say the least. And now time to look at basketball. Celtics against the Heat. So far, it's been a good series. Miami leads it 2-1. Miami won the first 2 games, 117-114. And then the second game was 106-101. Boston won Game 3, 117-106. Tyler Hero was 1 assist shy of a triple-double in Game 1. Goran Dragic, who has been scoring out there, 25 points in Game 2. And meanwhile, 4 Boston Celtics players had 20-plus points in Game 3. Jason Tatum has been the man for Boston. But the thing is, Miami has been red hot, pun intended, by the way. 10-2 in the postseason so far. 2 wins away from advancing to their first NBA Finals since LeBron was with them. And speaking of LeBron, we have Los Angeles against the Denver Nuggets. And the Lakers hold a series lead 2-1. Los Angeles won Game 1, 126-114. And Game 2, 105-103. Thanks to that shot right there. Anthony Davis, buzzer beating three-pointer, I believe, for the win. Unbelievable. Shoots it over one of the best players in Orlando right now, Nikola Jokic. And if there was a crowd, they probably would have loved it because Los Angeles would be home. Anyways, Nuggets eventually won Game 3 last night, 114-106. AD had 37 points in Game 1 as well. But Jamal Murray, Game 3, stole the show. 28 points and 12 rebounds in Game 3. And I'm telling you something. There is a lot of momentum shifting towards Denver with that win. That's right, the momentum is shifting towards the Nuggets. We can quite easily see them win. Remember, Denver was down 3-1 against Utah. What happened? They won. They were down 3-1 against the Clippers. What happened? They won. So the Nuggets aren't done yet with a win like that, Game 3. I think that they might be able to make the NBA Finals. I wouldn't be shocked. The momentum is to Denver. Los Angeles is losing that momentum. I mean, it's not going to be easy. It may have been easy to go up against guys like Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. For Utah, it may have been easy to go up against Kawhi and Los Angeles. But let me tell you something. It's not going to be easy for them to do it against LeBron and Anthony Davis, the two biggest names in the entire NBA. But if there's one team that's going to do it, I'll say it's the Denver Nuggets. Because if the Nuggets don't win, the Lakers are going to win the NBA Finals this season. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, it's time for Tommy's Picks. We're looking at what happened last week, and there it is on your screen. Copley beat Talmadge on Thursday, 47-14. And also on Thursday, Revere beat Twinsburg, 28-14. Mentor beat the tar out of Brunswick, 38-0. Washington beat Benedictine, 28-10. Massillon, Washington. St. Edward beat St. Ignatius at First Energy Stadium, 17-0. Stowe narrowly beat North Royalton, 21-14. Hudson took down Wadsworth, 62-42. Of course, Wadsworth could score. Unfortunately, that defense hasn't been showing up. Brecksville beat Barberton, 45-31. Barberton still yet to get a win. Very out of character for the Magics. And Aurora beat Bishop Sycamore in Columbus, 31-8. And was the best game of the week, Highland against Nordonia. Close game through and through. Nordonia took the lead on an onside kick. But guess what? Hornets didn't quit yet. They got a touchdown. Aaron Phillips to Max Coleman to give us the lead, 38-35. Nordonia kicked the field goal to tie it. And then we weren't done yet. Got a touchdown. Luke Stiles, by the way, if you are a Division I scholar, you may want to look out for Luke because he is definitely going to do you well. And then Andrew Tawinski with a game-winning sack in overtime on 4th down, ending Nordonia's hopes of wanting to win. They don't win. What a great game that was. Of course, I couldn't come, but I was still watching on Nordonia's live stream on YouTube. Westlake beat Cuyahoga Falls 28-26. And now time for the NFL. Thursday night game, Browns narrowly beat the Bungles 35-30. I have to say something. That was a great game out there. Baker Mayfield and the entire offense finally stepping it up after a lackluster performance against the Ravens. They make the Bungles look terrible out there. Odell did well for my fantasy team, and I still lost. I got 129 points, and then the tight end for Las Vegas was on fire, 29 points, and I end up losing, and I was so frustrated, to say the least. But you know what? That was just really good out there. We did have some miscues, but you know what? We did get a turnover, which was really nice to see, in my opinion. I really was happy to see the Browns with a good job right there, getting a turnover after failing to get the touchdown on 4th and goal. Of course, if there's one thing I've noticed out of the Browns, it's that we struggle while we're inside the 5-yard line, which is mighty depressing. But it's not depressing. 35 points. Joe Burrow threw over 60 passes without an interception. That was a good job. Joe Burrow is good. He has just had some unfortunate luck and some pretty bad luck so far during these first 2 games. Titans beat the Jaguars 33-30. Tampa Bay beat the Panthers 31-17. The Steelers beat the Broncos 26-21. The Rams beat the Eagles 37-19. What is going on in Philly right now? They are just looking terrible. The 49ers are proving that they're not in a hangover yet, beating the Jets 31-13. Of course, they're the Jets are not good. But some bad news out there. Raheem Mostert got hurt. Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt. By the way, we should not call this week 2. We should call it week 2 injuries. It was just very sad to see all these players go down. Very frustrating to see, in my opinion. But anyways, Bills beat Free Willy. How about that? 31-28. Colts beat the Vikings in a big upset, 28-11. And the Packers beat the loser Lions 42-21. But they also had an injury. It was Davante Adams, their star receiver, that went down. The Falcons were up 20 points on the Cowboys and still find a way to lose, not even wanting to recover that onside kick. Dear God, they need to fire Dan Quinn, because he was a coach when they blew the 28-3 lead. And all Falcons fans have had to hear about it ever since. The Bears beat the Giants 17-13, but he got the blessing of an injury, the Bears, because Saquon's out for the season now. Saquon Barkley out for the entire season with an ACL injury. And by the way, Christian McCaffrey out 6 to 8 weeks too with an injury. Quite a shame to see all these guys. Cardinals beat the Washington football team 30-15. Chiefs beat the Chargers 23-20 thanks to a massive 58-yard field goal by Harrison Butker. And then the Ravens beat the Texans, who should really fire Bill O'Brien because Deshaun Watson did not look that well out there, 33-16. Big game on Sunday night, 35-30. Seahawks won. DK Metcalf got into a fight in the game, but of course the real story was that the Patriots were threatening. Of course, they got up to the 5, inside the 5, 1 point to go. And rather than try pass, which is what they should have done, say Cam Newton tries to do it himself, can't get in. Of course, you never know if they did pass, because remember when they faced off against each other in the Super Bowl, remember what happened? Russell Wilson got picked off by Malcolm Butler. But anyways, it still made sense for Cam Newton to try to do it himself, but no, he couldn't get in. And then the Raiders beat the Saints at the very first game at Allegiant Stadium, 34-24. Good comeback out there by Derek Carr and Oakland. Dear God, why was I saying that? Las Vegas doing good. But meanwhile, there was an injury during that game. If you saw it, there was a TV cart and a Raider player ran right into it and hurt himself. Oh my God, whoever put it there is not smart whatsoever, because he just caused a big injury, to say the least. And time for my Week 2 fantasy team. 23.8 points out of Aaron Rodgers, which is good. But Alvin Kamara was my guy. 38.4 points, 95 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, 95 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Dalvin Cook had 17.1 points, 63 rushing yards, and 1 touchdown, which is very good. And Davante Adams had 6.6 points. However, you can't blame him because Davante Adams got hurt, and Davante Adams was out. Dear God, so many players were hurt back in Week 2. Definitely crazy. And DeAndre Hopkins had 20.8 points, 8 receptions, 68 yards, and 1 touchdown. Travis Kelce, 24 points, 9 receptions, 90 yards, 1 touchdown. But Christian McCaffrey did well, 24.8. Look at that, 2 touchdowns, and let's think, 59 plus 29 would be, let's think, that would be 8. I think it would be 88, I want to see. 59 plus 29 is indeed 88 total yards. But McCaffrey, of course, was also hurt. He's missing about 6 to 8 weeks. I feel so sorry and so bad for all those people who drafted Saquon Barkley, for all those people who drafted Christian McCaffrey and Devontae Adams. Just kidding, I don't feel bad for them. It's their fault. I didn't draft them, so I'm good. Harrison Butker at 13 points, thanks to a big game-winning field goal. Baltimore's defense, 15 points as well. Looking at my recap, I went 8-2 this week with 9 points in the world of high school football. My lock of the week was right. I had Brecksville as my lock. My upset, St. Ignatius lost. And I also picked Wadsworth to win. Wadsworth lost. This was definitely my best week I have had yet. And through 4 weeks, I am 24-12 with 29 points. Excuse me, just checking stuff. Of course, fantasy football going on. Of course, how I did last week for the NFL. 11-5 with 12 points. And upset of the week, the Jets, Jets lost. I already got my lock of the week right with Kansas City. My dream fantasy team had 183.5 points. Of course, Adams and McCaffrey got hurt. That could have given me 200. But Alvin Kamara did well, 38.4 points. So now 22-10 this season with 24 points. How did my real fantasy team do this year? I lost, even though I put up 129 points. Kyler Murray was incredible. So was Zeke Elliott, DK Metcalf, Odell, and Justin Tucker did well. I had Indy's defense on the bench. I thought Dalvin Cook was going to do well, and our defense was going to hold the Bungles shut. And my tight end, Mark Andrews, did terrible. 1 reception, 29 yards. And that's it. Houston's defense may not have done well last week, but they stopped Mark Andrews and lost by 3 points. And you know why I lost? Because of tight end for the other team. Darren Waller had 29.3 points. And he ended up having 132 total points compared to me with 129. It was very frustrating. This week I'm projected to have 113.1 points. And now time for Tommy's Picks. Tommy's Picks right there on your screen. High school football! St. Vincent, St. Mary against Hoban. I'm going with Hoban out there. Massillon, Washington against St. Ignatius. Gonna be a great game. I'm picking the Tigers for that. Euclid against Medina. Euclid Panthers should win. Highland hosting Hudson at the Tire. Upset of the week. Highland is gonna win. They are going to shock Northeast Ohio with a huge win. You watch. Aaron's going to be on fire. Luke's going to be on fire. Max is going to catch all those passes. Oh, man. They are going to be, that trio is going to be the deadliest trio out there in all of high school football this week. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Stowe against Brecksville. That should be a great game. I'm going to go with the Bulldogs right there. Cuyahoga Falls against Aurora. Lock of the week. Bulldogs. Or not Bulldogs. So... thinking about the previous game. But anyways, lock of the week, Black Tigers going down to the Green Men. Wadsworth against Barberton. Wadsworth kicked out of the top 25. Barberton without a win. It's at Art Wright. Gotta go with the Grizzlies. Nordonia against North Royalton. Both teams off close losses last week. Picking the Knights. Westlake against Revere. Minute mention win. Westlake barely defeated Cuyahoga Falls last week. Twinsburg against Talmadge. Gotta go with the Tigers. Copley against Roosevelt. Copley has been on fire so far. Picking Copley. NFL tomorrow night, Thursday night. Jaguars against Free Willy. Well, I gotta pick the Jaguars this week. Gardner Minshew should do well. Gardner looking pretty good so far. Steelers against Fire Bill O'Brien. I mean the Texans. Steelers should win. Bill O'Brien doesn't even know how to coach. Eagles against the Bungles. Someone has to win. I have to pick the Eagles. If they lose to the Bungles, Jalen Hurts might as well start now. He might want to think about starting. Giants against the 49ers. I'm going to pick on the 49ers with a win right there. against the Saquonless Giants. Patriots against the Raiders. I have the Patriots as an upset because the Raiders are 2-0 and the Patriots are 1-1. However, it is at Gillette Stadium. I'll give them an advantage. Vikings against the Texans. Lock of the week. Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry should do really well out there for Tennessee. So I got to pick Titans. Browns against Washington football team. Browns should win. No problem for us. I think we have this. Bills against Rams. Big game. Josh Allen against Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff should have the advantage out there. Fire Dan Quinn against the Bears. I mean, the Falcons against the Bears. Chicago should come up with the win. No fan team against the Panthers. Well, they may gain fans after this win after they beat Carolina. Remember, Carolina without their big star, Christian McCaffrey, and they're without Cam Newton, too. Colts against the Jets. Someone has to win then, and that someone is Indy. Seahawks against the Cowboys. Got to pick the Seahawks. Broncos going up against Tampa Bay at Mile High. I think that Tom Brady should do well out there. Cardinals against the Lions. This is going to be a blowout. Arizona going to just destroy Detroit. Detroit's not even a good football team. Saints against the Packers. Drew Brees has been struggling. He struggled last week against the Raiders. So I'm going with Aaron Rodgers and those Packers. Ravens against the Chiefs Monday night. Good game, but I think Baltimore's going to win it. Week 3 fantasy team. Got to go quick. I have well exceeded my time limit. But anyways, Kyler Murray as my Week 3 fantasy team. Kyler Murray is my quarterback. Running backs are going to be Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb. Receivers Mike Evans, Julio Jones. Tight end George Kittle. Flex Derrick Henry. Kicker Chris Boswell. Defense 49ers. Just went by that really quickly. Well, I gotta say goodbye, folks. Of course, UFC. I'm going to be talking about UFC 253 next week. Going to be talking about football. Going to be talking about a lot of stuff. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye. Goodbye. See you then.